It was 4 a.m., the kind of morning when the roads belong only to travelers and dreamers. I started the bike and rode towards Penanjakan Viewpoint. After parking the bike, there was still an hour of hiking left. Even in the darkness, I wasn't alone, and I realized something. This wasn't a place meant for solitude. It was a place to witness something beautiful, together. Thousands of strangers, waiting for the exact same moment. For a few moments, it felt as if the entire landscape had come alive. No photograph, no video can truly capture what it feels like to stand there. And then, the moment had passed. But somehow, it stayed with everyone. I packed my camera, walked back to the bike, and rode towards the hotel. The journey had only just begun. Leaving Cemoro Lawang meant entering the sea of sand. Every time I rode into this place, it felt like crossing into another world, an endless volcanic plain, surrounded by mountains that looked too dramatic to belong on Earth. Colorful jeeps crisscrossed the sand, carrying excited travelers. Locals rode past effortlessly. Yesterday, this same stretch of sand had filled me with doubt. But today, the fear was gone. Sometimes, the road doesn't change. You do. The sea of sand slowly faded into the distance, until it became nothing more than a silhouette in my mirrors. But some places never really leave you. You carry them long after you've ridden away. Not as photographs, not as videos, but as feelings, the kind that quietly return on ordinary days, reminding you that somewhere out there, places like this still exist. Quiet reminders that the world is still capable of taking your breath away. And for a brief moment, you were lucky enough to be a part of it. Leaving the sea of sand behind, the road slowly began to change. The vast volcanic landscape gave way to narrow mountain roads, winding through the quiet slopes of East Java. On both sides, coffee plantations stretched across the hills, rows of green growing silently beneath the volcanic peaks. A reminder that even in the shadow of some of the world's most powerful volcanoes, life continues to grow. Riding alone means spending a lot of time with your own thoughts. So when a familiar face appears on the road, even for just a few seconds, it feels special. A biker I had crossed paths with yesterday near Bromo passed me from behind. A quick smile, a simple hello. Such a small gesture. But when you're traveling alone, being acknowledged by another traveler somehow makes you smile. And then, he disappeared into the mountains again. Two travelers, sharing the same road, but riding towards different stories. By around noon, I reached Belung village. By now, the volcanic landscapes were behind me, and the road had opened into peaceful plains. Along this entire stretch, I kept seeing jeep drivers heading back home. Watching them ride away reminded me of my arrival in Cemoro Lawang the day before. I still remember my hotel manager. His eyes were red, and the people around the village all carried the same tired faces. At first, I wondered why everyone seemed so exhausted. Then I realized, in Bromo, the day begins at 3 a.m. While travelers are still asleep, dreaming of the sunrise. These people are already awake, preparing jeeps, opening cafes, and helping travelers reach the mountain. They wake up before the sun, not to chase its beauty themselves, but to help others experience a moment that will stay with them forever. With these thoughts in my mind, I entered the quiet village of Sumirputih. The road ahead slowly turned into gravel, and before long, it was nothing but an off-road trail. I kept following it, hoping it would eventually lead somewhere. But after a while, the road simply came to an end. There was nothing to do, except turn back, recalibrate, and look for another way. Riding back through Sumirputih, I finally had the chance to take it all in. Colorful flowers lined the roads. Every home seemed to care for its little patch of green. The village felt peaceful, clean, and full of life. Not every detour rewards you with a destination, but sometimes it rewards you with a place you would have otherwise missed. Soon after, I reached Dampet village, and finally, the familiar sight of the highway was back in front of me. Back on the highway, Tumpak Sewu was now less than 30 kilometers away. The road flowed through one gentle curve after another, winding along the slopes of Gunung Semeru. I only realized it later. The volcano was right beside me, hidden behind a dense curtain of trees. Every now and then, I searched for a glimpse, but the forest kept it out of sight. By now, hunger had started to catch up with me, so I stopped at a small warung near the entrance to Tumpak Sewu Waterfall. As I stretched my legs, a sleepy cat beside me stretched too. Sometimes, even the smallest moments become part of the journey. And then, it was time to make my way down. The trail to Tumpak Sewu wasn't just a walk. It was an adventure of its own. Steep staircases, water flowing over slippery steps, small waterfalls crossing the path. Every few meters, I found myself holding onto the railings, carefully making my way down. Travelers climbing back up, paused every now and then, catching their breath before taking on the next flight of steps. The journey wasn't over yet. One final obstacle stood between me and the waterfall. A fast-flowing stream with only a rope to hold onto, one careful step at a time, feeling the force of the water beneath my feet. I slowly made my way across. I had never experienced an approach to a waterfall quite like this. Every step felt like part of the adventure. And then, I looked up. There it was, Tumpak Sewu. For a few seconds, I forgot to move. The first sight of it completely overwhelms you. Not because it's just tall, but because it seems to surround you from every direction. Dozens of streams falling endlessly from the cliffs above, like the mountain itself had come alive. The entire valley felt alive with energy. The roar of the water echoed through every corner. The wind it created rushed through the canyon, carrying thousands of tiny droplets with it. As I walked closer, the mist kept crashing against my face. Cold, refreshing, impossible to ignore. Above me, the sky was covered in grey clouds, and after a while, I couldn't even tell whether it was raining or if it was simply the waterfall filling the air with water. Everything around me was moving. The water, the wind, the mist. And yet, somehow, my mind had become completely still. Standing there, I wasn't thinking about the kilometers I had ridden, or the places still left to explore. I was simply present. Slowly, I began making my way back. But somehow, the journey felt different now. Everything felt lighter. Maybe because I wasn't just leaving with what I had seen. I was carrying what I had felt. The feeling of being alive, of being completely present, surrounded by the raw power of nature. And as the day came to an end, I reflected on everything this journey had given me. Because some places are not remembered only for what they look like. They are remembered for how they make you feel.